Here's the Sakae 22 by 16 inch bass drum in gold champagne sparkle. This bass drum is maple, 8-ply maple shell. And the finish is actually paint. So that classic kind of glitter finish is actually paint, which is pretty cool. Everything about the drum is beautifully finished. It's quite heavy lugs. And the claws very solid, have this nice plastic covering, which is pretty good. Two large vent holes. Very simple tom mount, very sturdy, single post mount. See if I can manage to show you something of the legs. It's a pretty good design. They've got, it's very much like a Yamaha design. Very simple, it's not spring loaded. So if I tip it up, sorry, I'm just going to tip it up and show you that it just swings out. I think what's pretty good is that even under pressure, even without being done up, it will stay there. A sturdy little leg. And all of the Sakae drums have these movable. I'll show you how that works. So that's the tip. So you move that and move it to either the tip out. I can move it with one hand. It's a bit tricky here. Being your own cameraman. So that moves up into that position and you can lock that down. Or out. Tighten that up finger tight. They do have a tendency to rattle if you don't tighten them up, but they're a Phillips head star screwdriver kind of job there, so you can tighten them up. Now there are 4 vents on this drum. It's got vents all around it, so there's one here and there's another one underneath there, equally spaced around the drum, another one there, and another one again under the other leg. That's a lot of vents for a drum. And it also comes with a little bass pedal protector, rim protector there. I've got some pictures which I'll put up at the inside of the shell. Just standard kind of a maple shell, sharp bearing edges, quite sharp double 45 edges. I'm just going to grab the tom mount because it's a very... So this tom mount, post and arms, which is a really great design. It's really cool. It's not too heavy. It's very solid. It's not too heavy, and the I'd say that that's a little bit heavier than the Yamaha post. Pretty solid, about the weight of the Pearl one, I suppose. The mount. It's got quite a short actual post there. These hexes are bigger than the Yamaha one, so they won't fit. I was told that the other series of Sakae, the Rotor New, they had the same size post. So you can see it's great how they've got this engraving on the parts of the drums. That's the Sakae sign for prosperity. Simple kind of a... it doesn't screw directly on. It's got a clamp. It's got a sleeve in there which it screws onto. Now, memory locks, standard kind of memory locks. Doesn't come with any memory locks on the post here, which is okay, I guess, since they're pretty short. You're just going to have to figure that out for yourself. Now, mine are on an angle because that's the way that I play my 12 and 13. But the really interesting thing about these mounts is how adjustable they are, because this center section rotates as well. So I'll grab a tom and put it on and see how that works. But when you undo them, this center section can move as well. So it rotates 360 as far as I know. Tighten up really well. Got the memory lock there, tightens up, and you can put that in any sort of position. I'm really happy with that. It's extremely solid, but it's not engineering overkill. And that's the badge from the Almighty Maple. Nice drum, it sounds great too. Sounds like a maple bass drum, but it's a beauty. I'll grab a tom. So here's one of the mounted toms. This is the 12x8, and this is birch. So the bass drum's maple, and this is birch. And it's difficult to see from here, but it's a red finish inside. It's not black. This is 7-ply. The bass drum's 8-ply. Sorry, this is 6-ply. The toms are 6-ply. The floor toms are 7-ply, and the bass drum is 8-ply. So this is a 6-ply drum. And look, it's like all of the whole kit. It's beautifully made. Now it has this suspension idea, which is a bar between these lugs, and it has a rubber gasket, so I can show you. There's a rubber gasket down in there as well. So these kinds of fittings are popular now. And does it work? Well, I'd say the answer to that is yes. I'm a big fan of the original rims. I have quite a few sets of those on my other kits. And I was 50-50 about whether or not I would end up using one of those, because I had seen a previous incarnation of this mount from Sakae and I was unconvinced. But this version 2, if you like, well, as you can hear, there's no choking going on there. It's heavy though. This entire fitting is not lightweight, so it adds something to the drum. And these drums do, well, I'd describe them as reasonably heavy, I suppose. They're certainly not light drums. And just showing you, I'll just sort of see if I can do this with one hand. It is pretty difficult, but because I don't want this drum to drop down. When you undo this, you can see that the whole drum moves that way as well. So it's up. Try and get that cameraman. He's up, down, and tilts that way as well. And hopefully, he says, tightens up. Yeah. pretty easily from there, and it's great. It's a great design. The inside of these drums, I'm going to include some pictures of these. It's pretty hard with the light over here, but the inside of the drums there's not a mark or a cutout or a tear out, I mean, or any of that kind of stuff. They really are just immaculately finished. The chrome is great, and I don't know where they're getting this from. I think on some of the cheaper kits it comes from China, but these lugs have quite a deep seated inset there, and they have a rubber gasket, plastic gasket there. But the chrome, even on the tension rods, is quite thick and quite large. Reminds me of the old Rogers design. Well, it's a strange thing, but Sakae actually owned a bit of Rogers patent there for a while, but didn't seem to do too much with it. Anyway, that's the 12. Wonderful. I'll get the other drum. Now here's the 12 and the 13 set up together. So this is a 13 by 9. These are all standard size, standard old school sizes, I guess. And that's a birch drum as well, so that would be 6 plies. Now this is the way that I have my toms mounted, and I've always had to do that with any drum kit that I've had, because I have the bass drum off at a bit of an angle to the right, and therefore to get the drums, the toms, in the position I want, I have to be able to move one of them out and one of them back close to the bass drum, like so. It's wonderful lighting in here, isn't it? But this makes it easy to do. I really didn't know how that was going to go, but it's worked out just fine. Now, drummers watching this would be asking how the 12 and 13 are, and the original, you know, non-power tom sizes. And look, I just love them. I think it's great. Got nothing against power toms, but this was the sizes that I want for doing most of the playing, most of the gigs that I do at the moment. And I've had my fair share of troubles with 13-inch toms, I suppose. Everyone does, I think everyone has, at least in a 12, 13, 16 setup. But this 13, it's no problem whatsoever, which is great. There is not an uneven drum in the set. They all work really well. These are the heads that came obviously on the kit. I'll be changing those out, most likely for clear emperors, which is what these are, I should imagine. And as you can see, look, if you wanted to really tighten down those screws there, you could probably stop any movement, but I'm just not going to bother because it doesn't move and it's all held together with it's the memory locks that are keeping the tom arms and everything in place. As far as movement on the shell goes, there's no problem there. So that's the toms.